But yeah, I'm gonna check out that Cole if it dropped. Well, you just told me that it did drop. So if since it dropped, I'm gonna go ahead and check that out definitely because you know that's Cole. That's Cole is probably my favorite right now. There are a few others. Um, Not only Cole, but like there's a UK rapper named Dave Santan Dave that I listen to. I didn't even know that he dropped like 2 albums. Santan Dave dropped 2. Yeah, Santan Dave dropped as well, and I didn't even know that he dropped 2 as a matter of fact. So I need to check that out too. I need to check out Santan Dave. But all right, y'all, call line is open. Yeah, I'm gonna check out the Cole album. Yeah, I'm gonna check out the Cole album right after I get off live because me and wifey is going out tonight. We're going out late. You know what I mean? We're going out late, but we're all going out tonight, me and wifey. So I'm gonna go ahead and check that out tonight. I'm gonna put the Cole on while we riding because where we're going is probably like 20-30 minutes away from us. But all right, y'all, we're just waiting for a guest. Eric, I'm gonna go ahead and invite you up, Eric, because like I said, I don't like talking to comments, so I'm just gonna go ahead and bring you up. You said that it's called Faith. Like I know what it's called, so I just need you to go ahead and come up and talk about it. I'm the type of person where I don't like to talk on the comments. That's just how I am. We can have an actual discussion instead of us, going back and forth through comments. But y'all, go ahead and like the live, share the live. We're trying to get this out everywhere. We're trying to go ahead and talk to a few folks. We're trying to get some conversations going. I'm just waiting for any calls to come in or any guests to come up. 24 songs. That's dope. I haven't had a 24 song album in a while. So does he have any features on this one? Does Cole have any features on this one? If he does, then because I liked what was his last one? The last one was not The Fall Off. Was his last one The Fall Off? Which one was his last one? The one where he had Lil Baby and 21 and Mo Ray and them. All right, Skull Crusher over on my YouTube. The phone number's right there. The phone number's right there. I don't know why y'all do this, bro. Why do y'all do this? Yo, so Skull Crusher over on my YouTube. The phone number is right there, bro. You can go ahead and call in, and we could go ahead and discuss reparations and what it would be and what it will look like. Like it's right there. You know what I mean? The off season. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, the off season. Yeah, the off season was really good. I really like the off season. I really like the off season. Like Pride as the Devil is I still listen to Pride as the Devil. Like I still love that song. All right, let's go, y'all. Let's go. Y'all keep tap that screen, y'all. Tap that screen, tap, because we're trying to get some conversations going. We're trying to get some people in here. The phone number is right there for anybody who wants to call in. All right, we got our first guest.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going? Speckled Ranch, is that your name?
Yeah, that's me.
How's it going, Speckled? Can I get your name, age, and did you disagree with what I had on the board?
I did. 25, Ethan, and I'm from Arizona. And he, him pronoun, if that's what you need to.
Gotcha. All right, Ethan. What did you disagree with and why?
Yeah, America was never great. I think we should really be fair here. Like, what do you mean by great? Can you define what you mean by great? What the criteria for something being great is?
Yeah, the criteria that I put on being great is being able to build institutions that promote freedom, justice, and equal opportunity for all of your citizens, not just a portion of your citizens and expand those freedoms and opportunities over time, especially for those who are without power in your society. And from those are actually the stated goals of the United States, because, you know, in the Bill of Rights, freedom, justice, liberty, opportunity, everything like that are in the Bill of Rights. So we see that those are the stated goals, but America doesn't build the institutions in order to do that. And we see many times that it actually fights against it. So until we can figure that part out, we cannot be great.
Yeah, I would say that. I don't know if we're gonna be able to get really too much. I think I take I try to not ask as much as what you're saying there exactly. We have to really get in the deep weeds of the first sentence you said there, but I would say my criteria for great is just going to be basic survival necessities, so like water, food. Even though health insurance is a little bit crazy, I could still go there, get a crazy bill, I could still be taken care of though. I would just say being able to have the necessities to survive. I think this, the kind of definition at least you gave of the criteria for it's kind of like a spoiled brat thing. I did a trip when I was 19 to India, went to like the kind of like they call it like some weird word, but it's like the really low poverty, and the children were like walking 3 miles to get water for them, and I can go in the water. I don't think we're gonna be able to get too far here. I think that we should be thankful for what we actually do have. It could be better, obviously, but I think we should be thankful.
Now, Ethan, here's the thing. I'm grateful that I live in a first world country where there's water and power, right? No one said that, but greatness should, in my opinion, is more than your economic opportunities, because, or not just economic opportunities, more than the economy of a country, because there are plenty of countries that have like rapidly good economies, but you probably wouldn't live there. Like, for example, the UAE or Saudi Arabia, but those places still have slavery. You see what I'm saying? So, like, just because the economy is good and it's powerful militarily, that doesn't necessarily make the society great. Because Nazi Germany had a powerful military and a powerful economy, but we wouldn't call that place great.
No, it didn't.
You see what I'm saying?
No, it didn't. Don't do misinformation. Nazi Germany relied on literally like a pyramid scheme to survive. They had to keep robbing other countries to survive that. So it was not a great economy there.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily, because the economy around that time was just it was basically capital capture. They did everything for the state. You know what I'm saying? It was all monopolies, and they ran for profit. You know what I mean? So like, and the thing is, like, they did get out of their depression during the Nazi Germany. Like, so we can't say that it just, you know, was completely shitty.
Didn't. No, yeah, they did. Literally didn't. Do you understand?
Yeah, they did.
So tell me the history that you've learned. I think you're spreading misinformation here. How did Smittler get out of that depression? What exactly happened? Because there was a economist that actually ended up being pioneered this.
Yeah, same thing we did.
What exactly did he do to get out of this?
Yeah, same thing we did. War, and he crushed all the unions and basically let the captains of industry just basically run the entire economy.
No. The economist basically made a fake bank. He gave IOUs to other companies that produced things, and then he had to pay it back within a time frame. He had to use that time frame to capture other goods of other countries and use that to pay it back. It was all a scheme.
Also, like what we do.
You're talking about. Please,
like what we do.
Please get educated and
so like what we do.
Have a great day.
So Ethan, so like what we do. Okay, yeah, he left. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and move on. We did have a caller. I'm gonna get to the guest over here on TikTok in a second, but we did have a caller that called in. I appreciate y'all being here. All right, 585. How's it going, 585? Can I get your name, age?
How you doing, my brother? What's up?
I'm all right. You got to go ahead and turn down your mic a little bit. Can I get your name, age?
I sure will.
All right, can I get your name, age?
My name is Brent. I'm a Democrat. I live in Rochester, New York. Let me tell you, matter something. You see what they did to Trump? Did put up that picture of President Obama and Michelle Obama. He is so jealous of President Obama. You know why he's jealous? Because we still recognize President Obama, and we don't recognize. I would never say Trump, but I call him Trump. I say 47. He put up a racist depiction of Melania and Obama as monkeys. Come on, man. Come on. Is this what it is? They want a race war, brother. They want a race war, and y'all better you better go get strapped up. Go get strapped up.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, I live out here by Bagel. I live in the suburbs. I've been out here 6 years. I had no problem. I nailed one of them. They tried with that race car with me. I knew I told that white man, I said, shut the fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm proud to be black. That's what I told him. I am 53 years old. My mom dad always told me, never be afraid of the white man. Never. On a job. I got fired many jobs by a white man.
Got you, Brett. All right. So I appreciate you, but I'm only taking
fuck MAGA, fuck Trump.
You're right. Based. Fuck MAGA and fuck Trump. Hey, I appreciate
Happy Black History Month. Happy Black History Month. Happy Black History Month.
Happy Black History Month. I appreciate you.
They don't like that either.
I appreciate you, Brent. Appreciate you, Brent. I just want to get to opposition, but I appreciate you, Brent. Go ahead and keep listening in. Keep liking, alive, and sharing. All right. Next person, No. How's it going, No? What is your actual name, age, and did you disagree with what I had on the board?
Yeah, my name is James. I'm 19.
How you doing, James? All right. And did you disagree with what I had on the board?
Yeah. So, how exactly would you want reparations for Black Americans again?
Reparations for African Americans could come in both cash and reforming institutions that we have, such as education and the criminal justice system.
So y'all want cash. So y'all just want cash by the government just because y'all black.
No, it's not just because that's because of being black. It's also it's because of it's because of not just slavery but redlining, black codes, Jim Crow, those things are the ones that economically and politically push black people behind, essentially. Like, for example, do you know what the average wealth of a black family is compared to a white family?
I want to know.
Right. Okay. So the average white family has about $125,000 in wealth, and it might go higher. And the average black family has about $5,000 worth of wealth. Do you know how that happened?
Probably both the man and woman work.
No, it happened because of redlining. Most the man and the woman were working during Jim Crow. Did black people have the same opportunities during Jim Crow as white people?
During that, no.
Right. Okay. So after that, do you think it happened after that?
Yeah.
It didn't. So because of that, do you think, and not only that, not only did it not, but the government was complicit in making sure that didn't happen. So because of those things, do you think that maybe our government should be involved in repairing what they broke?
No, because 2026.
That doesn't make any sense. You're saying that because the government did something wrong, they shouldn't fix it?
I mean, I feel like it's already fixed when they took out Jim Crow.
It's not. I just told you it's not.
So, I feel like if you want to get out and get it, you can, just like anybody else in this world.
That doesn't really answer my question. The government was involved in damaging the African American community, and we see the damage up to this day. So why shouldn't they be involved in repairing it?
Well, it sounds like the Democrats should help you out a little bit and do their job in the.
It's not about the Democrats or the Republicans, my friend. It's not about them. It's about the government as a whole. Both Democrats and Republicans were involved in damaging the African American community.
Yeah, like Joe Biden with Jim Crow. Yeah, I know, you know about that.
Joe Biden didn't create Jim Crow, my friend.
No, he didn't create it, but he stood with it.
Yeah, he did. I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say he didn't, but this is not about Democrats or Republicans.
Yeah, so like I don't think our tax dollars should be going. I mean, even if African Americans were given cash, what are they going to do with the money to better themselves?
What they already do. Do you know how black people spend their money?
So like just on bills and stuff. But I mean, what? So just basically a stimulus check to black people.
Basically a stimulus check to black people. I'm not sure if you know what you're talking about, my friend. You think this gonna be like a stimulus check, like people are just gonna get the money and just like flaunt it or something like that, or just do whatever? Like they're gonna invest.
Spend it. I mean, I'm not saying they're not gonna spend it where it needs to be spent, but it depends also. How much money are you talking?
It could be $100,000 to each African American family.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit!
Hey, James. There are 48 million black individuals in the United States. Hold on. Listen to me. Listen to what I'm saying. There are 48 million black individuals in the United States. Out of that 48 million, an estimated about 33 to 35 million are descendants of chattel slavery in the United States. right? Like people like myself who are immigrant born, like my parents are from Haiti. We came here afterwards, right? So
Yeah, I know that.
so it goes from 48 million to about 35 to 37 million, who were all descendants of chattel slavery, all descendants of Jim Crow, redlining, et cetera, et cetera. About 35 million. Out of that, those are individuals. But what about families? Out of that 35 million, you're gonna go down to about 14 to about 20 million families. What's 100,000 times times that 20 million? 100,000 times that 20 million is about $1 trillion.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that's what we've spent on our military, though.
Yeah, but think about it this way. So when the government does that, you don't think the next generation of Black African Americans are gonna be asking for money too? Come on, we just got born.
Why would that? Why would they? They already got reparations. Did the Japanese Did the Japanese ask for more reparations after they got theirs?
What reparations did the Japanese get?
In the 80s, the Japanese got the reparations for what happened to them during World War II. So if we could give the Japanese reparations for the wrong that we did, if we could give the Japanese reparations for the wrong that we did to them, why can't we make it true for why can't we make it right for African Americans? Give me a good reason.
So let me ask you a question on that, because I obviously don't know what you're talking about. So what, these were Asian citizens, American citizens? Were these Japanese? These were so every Asian in America.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
What were you saying?
This tell me that you're actually not listening to me to actually have a discussion, but just respond. I didn't say Asians. I said Japanese.
So every Japanese in America got reparations.
The Japanese who were descendants of the people who were in the internment camps, yes, they got reparations.
Oh, so we're not talking about on the same platforms of $1 trillion. We're talking about like only
the Japanese reparations cost at least $500 to $700 billion.
Who the fuck?
Okay. Reagan.
That's crazy.
I know. And you're not taught that history. This is the problem. So if we can make it right with the Japanese who were descendants of the internment camps, why can't we make it right for African Americans who were descendants of chattel slavery, Jim Crow, and redlining? What will be the good reason?
You know what? I just feel like you weren't born with that happening to you. You know, your dad wasn't born with that happening to him.
There were Japanese people who were born that didn't happen to them either.
Hey, I don't agree with that. Hey, I don't have to agree with that.
It's fine that you don't agree with it, but the fact of the matter is that we did it and we made it right, and there was a reason why we made it right. So why can't we make it right for African Americans? This is a question I'm still asking.
That's a question for Ronald Reagan.
Right. All right. So what I'm asking you is, if the United States government was complicit in damaging the African American community, why should they not fix it? Why shouldn't the government fix what they broke?
Why should the government have to fix what they broke?
Why should not the government fix what they broke?
Oh, because you know what? I feel like shit was already made up.
It wasn't.
Yeah, because look, y'all got now all the Africans that came from Africa now have the right to live in America.
That's not reparations for African Americans.
Hell yeah, y'all gotta live in a first world country.
That's not reparations for African Americans.
Yeah, y'all got a privilege just being here.
Hold on,
James.
Hi,
Chelsea. Yeah, hey, how you doing, Chelsea? I'm James.
Happy Black History Month.
Happy Black History Month.
Shout out to the father of Black History Month, Carter G. Woodson.
Happy Black History Month. Shout out to Carter G. Woodson. I'm gonna get you in a second. James, hold on. Chelsea, I'm gonna get you in a second, because I know you want to get in on this.
I mean, I'm a Black American. I didn't immigrate anywhere, so
yeah, exactly.
as well.
Hell yeah, America.
So
here's my question though, respectfully.
Hold on. Wait, hold on. Who's that talking? Is that you, Life?
Yes, sir.
Life, I got you. Just give me 1 second, all right? Everybody, just give me 1 second. All right, so James.
Yes, sir. My bad.
All good. All right, so James, I really need you to actually engage with this conversation and answer this question.
Right.
Africans having the right to come to the United States, my parents from the Caribbean having the opportunity to come to the United States, that's not reparations for African Americans themselves. So saying that, oh, y'all had a right to be here, that's silly, that's stupid. We're talking about the African American community, who are about 35 to 40 million. We're talking about them, their reparations, them making them right, making their society right. The government and private companies like Chase, like Wells Fargo, they were the ones who damaged that community. Why should they not fix it?
I know. I mean, I could really, but here's the thing. Like, I'm trying to answer your question, but I want you to understand too. You don't see me asking for my reparations from every country that's my ancestors were from.
My nigga,
You don't
that's
see me
on
asking-
you.
But
That's
your
on you, bro.
ancestors were immigrants.
Please answer the question. Why should the government, who damaged the African American community through policies like redlining, like Jim Crow, etc., why shouldn't companies like Chase, like Citibank, like Wells Fargo, who had higher interest loans on African Americans, refuse to insure their businesses, who sent Gestapo in order to damage their businesses, who put red painting in their lead painting in their homes, environmental racism, etc. They damaged the African community heavily. Why should they not fix it?
I think that's an excuse.
Okay, I'm gonna say
Jesus
one
Christ.
thing. Can
Go
I
ahead,
say
Chelsea.
one
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
Bossy?
Yeah, go ahead,
As a
Chelsea.
Black
Jesus Christ.
American who is a descendant of chattel slavery, our ancestors aren't immigrants. We didn't migrate anywhere. We were trafficked in the 1500s in St. Augustine, Florida, Mississippi. These areas we were trafficked and kidnapped here. Our children were used as gator bait. We were separated from our family. We were forced to learn different languages. There's something that they don't teach you in school at all. You have to go pursue higher education or pursue certain books. Or if you have a niche, if it's your niche subject, they had breeding farms where they would take a Black girl once she was able to menstruate to these breeding farms to produce more
hell no.
Black people. As well as when you keep talking about people migrated here, Black Americans fought for the Immigration Act of 1965 because they had such a restricted limit on people that were, perceived as Black or darker skinned people coming to the U.S. They fought for that because a lot of them were Pan-Africanists, but you can't say these things that, they got our reparations with that. No, that's another right that we fought for. James Meredith fought for the right for Black Americans to be in colleges, integrated colleges. He's still alive. He's in Mississippi. Ruby Bridges is still alive, looking good, mind you, in Louisiana, fought for the right for Black children to be integrated in school. And she shouldn't even have that burden. Like, she was a child herself. Like, they pretty much lunged her in something that was so detrimental to her mental health, to her physical health. But now today we see that Black children can go to these integrated schools because what they were doing, they were taking the funding from these Black cities, Black towns, and not not giving that funding back. They were using it to elevate their homes. And when Black towns and Black cities were more elevated over white homes and white cities, they burned those cities to the ground. There's people who they can't even really trace their lineage back because those are cities that were burned down. We have Seneca Village that was in Central Park, New York. That's no longer there. We have a place called Quakertown in Denton, Texas. They got rid of Quakertown. It was full of Black American lawyers and Black American doctors. But since they built Texas Women's University, it was an all-white girls' school. They didn't want any Black people to be near them. So they bulldozed that town. You have Oscarville in Georgia, they call it the Lake Lanier.
Mhm.
They drowned those people out. You have Rosewood. There's so many people, Black American people with so many admixtures because of sexual assault, because of so many things. People have trauma in certain diseases in their epigenetic settings because of this thing. It's been passed on through generation. So as a Black American woman, proudly Black American,
I know
with
what you mean.
ancestry dating back to the 1500s. My folks from Mississippi, Louisiana.
So,
I
my question is-
just left Cyprus, Louisiana. Yes, we deserve those reparations because the country
Right.
that you enjoy was built through slave labor, was built through those things. Even as far as I'll say 1980s, we had redlining. I hope redlining is not still a thing, but we had redlining. People were in predatory loans. They couldn't go further. They was really stifled. Their whole life was stifled because of this thing called racism. The only reason why we have exuberant college tuition is because of racism, credit scores, racism. So you trying to say, we can't do this, we can't do that because you have a scarcity lack mindset. You think if Black Americans were rewarded something or allotted something, it takes away from you. No, it does not. These things have to be rectified. These things have to it has to be rectified, or the cycle's going to continue. There's going to be more mess. You're going to complain more. Things are going to happen to you. It's going to it's affecting you now. You probably can't pay your mortgage. If you got a mortgage, you probably, damn, this rent going high. Like, it goes up. Minimum wage been that way for 30 something years because of the powers that be do not want to even acknowledge Black Americans, or even rectify all the wrong and the harm that was done. Think of having your 14-year-old sister or
Kelsey?
anybody. Go ahead, Varsity, because I'll talk about this forever. He was irritating me.
No,
I do apologize.
No, it's all good and well. I love it. You were killing it. I just gotta have him respond because we're almost out of time with him. But James, do you understand everything that was said to you, right? Because what we're trying to get to the point is everything in this country was built off racism. Even the way that traffic works. You see what I'm saying? So, and those negatively affected African Americans the most. So what we're trying to get you to understand, or a question that I still need you to answer, or you should ask yourself, is if the system was built to be against African Americans and make them poor and everything else that Chelsea has said, why shouldn't that not be fixed? Because it hasn't yet.
I got a question.
It simply hasn't yet.
Do I get more time? Because
yeah, we can give you a little bit more time. I'm gonna give you a few more minutes. Okay, over on my call line, Julius, I do see you on the call line, Julius. I'm gonna get to you in a few minutes. All right, Julius, just give me a few moments. There was one more person in front of you, and then I'll get to you on the call line. For everybody who's on my TikTok, the call line cannot hear you. Unfortunately, I still haven't fixed that yet. I'm gonna fix that soon, y'all. I promise I'll fix that soon. But over my TikTok, the call line will not be able to hear y'all, at least the guests. But everyone else, you'll be able to hear. Okay, so James, what was your question?
So, for example, right? Why would someone of African American descent, or not African American descent, sorry, African descent in America, why would someone like them disagree with reparations?
Someone like them will disagree with reparations if they don't know the history of the country, or if they've been given a history of the country that's not pretty towards African Americans, or they've simply just been brainwashed by basically conservative bootstrap thinking. You know what I mean? Thinking that, we made it over here and we're all good, but they don't know the context of everything that happened to African Americans and how this country was set against them. That happens.
My girlfriend's mixed, right? Mm-hmm. She's got Nigerian, Benin and Togo, all that stuff.
And she disagrees. Yeah, I get it. I get it. But
she's not. But listen, she's not like me. Like she's very much more left than I. Like, I'm not left, but she's definitely like middle to left, I would say, with some of her thinking.
Okay.
Most of it. So I don't know. She just said no. I asked her one day straight up. I said, "Do you agree with this?" And she just said, "No, it's stupid." So, I mean, I know that's not like, okay, whatever. But
I mean, she can disagree all she wants, but I'm not talking to her. Yeah, I mean, I'm talking to you. I would have to speak. I'll speak with her to see what her reasoning is. But as far as talking to you goes, I think you should ask yourself that question: why you disagree that if a government in a society damages a community, they shouldn't fix it? Like, what? That sounds silly. That sounds kind of crazy.
I get what you're saying, but also I feel like, you didn't personally feel the same way your ancestors did. You didn't physically feel it. You didn't mentally feel it. So why should you be getting paid for something your ancestor had to go through that you didn't have to go through?
Because it still affects us today. Like, as a Black American, and I keep saying that I didn't benefit from any sort of immigration. It still affects us today. You just heard Bossy talks about how trafficking works. You heard me talk about redlining. You heard me talk about people with different illnesses in their epigenetic settings, fear. And I'm gonna get off here, Bossy, but also Black people are not even a monolith, sir. Like, no shade to your girlfriend, but I don't know how old she is. I don't know her heritage. I don't know what she's been taught. Black people are not a monolith. Once upon a time, a lot of Black people in the South didn't even want Martin Luther King to come to the South to help
Democrats.
So it's just like we're not a monolith, but these things still affect us today.
I feel like okay, this is how I feel. If y'all want reparations, I feel like it should come out of all the Democrats that own slaves' pockets, because it was them.
Can I say something, please?
It was them.
Yeah,
KKK.
As a matter of fact, yeah, Trill, I've had you up here for a while. I apologize. What did you want to say?
Hold on. No problem. So, it's really two things I want to say. So, the first thing I want to say is like every major established country or superpower in the world has had a reparation system for people they've wronged. Even like after slavery, they looked at slave owners as losing property and gave slave owners reparations for losing slaves. The Jews, they got reparations. Like every major group of people that's been systematically wronged throughout history, when we talk about like major modern establishments have been given reparations. And I feel like for whatever reason, when it comes to like Black African Americans, we're the only group where it's like this cognitive dissonance or this disconnect, where it's like we're the group of people that are forced to like have to pick up the pieces and start from scratch. And even then, like from like 1968 is like when like a lot of like the civil rights laws started to get passed. Like we've only been even recognized as like regular citizens for just a couple generations now, like even after like chattel slavery. And then for is like the argument of like, oh my God, you didn't have to directly go through something, or your parents or great grandparents or whatever. James, is that your name?
Yeah, that's his
Yeah.
name on the bottom, James.
If your grandpa owned the farm and he passed away, does the bank get the farm? Or would you want that farm passed down to you?
Of course, you'd want the form passed on.
Why? Did you work for that farm? Did you feed the cattle on that farm?
I mean, I get what
Can
point
I
you're
say
trying to
something?
make.
Wait, who was that?
That's Andrew.
Andrew. Okay, Andrew, I'm gonna get you to you in a second. We're almost done. And over on the call line, Julius, I do see you, and Garrett, I see you as well. All right, I'm gonna get you guys in a second. And then but I just gotta talk to Life, because Life had a quick question. But we're gonna go ahead and get to finish this off with James. But Trell, definitely appreciate you. Chelsea, definitely appreciate you. So James, what I want you to do, yeah, that was very well stated, Trell. I appreciate you being up here. Very well stated, Trell. So James, what I need you to do is I need you to go ahead and think about these questions that we're asking, and to your girlfriend, tell her to call in tomorrow. You know what I mean? Go ahead and you can follow me and say, hey, these people were talking about reparations and you disagreed, and they want to talk to you, and call in tomorrow and we could talk to her. All right. But I do got to move on to you for now. Just for now, we got to move on. But I appreciate you being here, James. All right. We'll talk to you soon. All right. Andrew, I'm gonna get to you, okay? But Life had a quick question, and I'm gonna get to you. All right, Andrew. I appreciate you being patient. Life, what was your question? And Julius and Garrett, I'm gonna get to you guys in a second. Over on my call line. Life, what was your question?
I had a few different questions. Okay. So
if you have a few different questions and it goes long, I might need to get to Andrew first. All right. So just letting you know that. Just let me know what your questions are, and if they have a lot of explanation, then I'll just get to Andrew first. Go ahead. Life.
My father was biracial. He was half Black, half white. So his family would technically be okay, and I would have a quarter of it in me.
Okay.
But due to his family and his half and him being my father, would that then mean, to what degree do reparations go? Does it how far down or past your family tree does it really go down to? And what would necessarily classify you to be, and furthermore, I was hearing a little bit of what James was saying, and I had to really sit here and conflict with myself in my mind and really give a thought about it. I think reparations are somewhat owed because everybody else has had reparations. I just, in my heart, I would wish that if Black people did get the reparations, I'm not going to say that they wouldn't build anything with it. I know that there are a lot of intelligent, Black people out there. I would hope that it would better them as a community and that they could thrive off of it, if that makes sense. But I also say that from understanding, there's a little bit of life story to it, but my father had left around when I was 5, and my brother, who's fully mixed, his father, which is fully Black, adopted me, and then more or less. So I was raised up by my grandmother and my grandfather, who are both fully Black. So I kind of understand the generational trauma of it and the struggle that having to grow up and see them go through, whether it be money, whether it be jobs, or whether like if that makes sense. So I'm kind of confused when it comes to that too, because like if I go on some panels and I'll be like, well, I was raised this way, da 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 da, and I have black inside me, they'll be like, no, you're white, da 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 da.
Okay,
but I'm like,
is that because like your father's half black and half white and your mom's white?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, that most people didn't just consider you white. Now, what I would say in my opinion, this has to be a conversation to have. But at that point, from someone who's like who is in your position or in what they think about it. Chelsea, Trell, what do you guys say? Because I think this is more on y'all opinion. Go ahead.
Okay. What do you call yourself? Life?
Yeah, you can call me Life.
There's a caricature or a something that they would call certain black people in antebellum slavery. They would get called the tragic mulatto because they didn't know where. It's a fictional character, but it's an archetype. But they wouldn't know where they had actually would actually fall along the color lines because it was so staunch then. But there was, because of the one drop rule, there were so many classifications. You had fussies, dusties, mulattoes. You had octoroons if you're 1/8 black. You had quadroons. But those people would actually, today, if they did not pass, they are integrated. They're black. And after antebellum slavery, we had something called the Blue Vein Society. People were trying to find a way to fit in, but they were, too white, for the, I guess, phenotypically black people, or monoracial, somewhat monoracial black people, because there was a lot of biracials around, but they were too black for white people. So they had to get the blue vein. They had to create a society called the Blue Vein Society. And out of that, we have something called the paper black bag test and, a lot of colorism. But I would think that your father would get those reparations because he is a black man. I wouldn't, in today's time, we don't abide by the one drop rule anymore. You would be considered more so a Denise Richards type. Denise Richards benefit from white society. You benefit from white society. Therefore, you benefit from white racism, because we don't align ourselves with that classification anymore. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
So you would be considered a white man. Even how you refer to Black Americans, you said, I wish they would be, productive or do something productive with it. And I told you, even that mindset, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, even that mindset led me to believe that you may think that Black Americans, are just stereotypically Black, or just not doing what they need to do and aligning yourself with that white rhetoric. And I just said, in the 1900s, we had all these towns, we had all these businesses, we had Black Wall Street, but they were bombed, they were drowned, they were, set fire to. So it's just like that in itself lets me know that you align yourself with whiteness and view yourself as a white man. So why would you want reparations if you view yourself so you think you're Black, or you say you claim yourself as Black? Because you did a lot of othering. You said they. So I'm like, what do you mean?
Because every time I call on my folk or anything like that, typically on a
call who out?
I said anytime I call them my people or anything with my melanation in my skin, normally on panels it gets kind of disregarded, if that makes sense.
Oh, you get othered already. Is what you're saying? You get othered already.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
when you go out in the world, are you do you live your life as a white man? Or do you like, okay, yeah, my father is mixed. Like, are you benefiting from white racism? Like, are you in locker rooms hearing them crack jokes about Black people? You're blending in. They don't know your father is mixed, but you look like a white man. You benefiting from white racism.
Anytime I meet somebody new and they ask about me, I tell them like my father was mixed and that I was raised inside a Black house.
Well, let me ask it more this way. You know who the rapper?
I know what you're gonna say.
Yeah, you know who the rapper Logic is, right?
Yes, sir.
Do you look more like him or do you look more like Drake?
Logic, definitely.
More like logic. Okay, yeah.
Oh, you a white man, baby.
So yeah, people are gonna assume that you're more white. Yeah,
Yes,
and
sir.
which is, it's unfortunate, but as far as when it comes to reparations, like we say here, is very complicated. I want Trell to say something as well, but we did kind of skip over Andrew, so I definitely want to give Andrew the time. So Trell, if you can go ahead and
I'm gonna be real
respond.
quick, honestly, because
Yeah, go ahead,
kind of Chelsea, I feel like she said most of what needs to be said.
Mhm.
I'm gonna kind of simplify it in the way that I think about it. I feel like your dad definitely, like, especially how the host kind of sees it, like on a family to family basis. I think regardless of rather how I personally feel about it, I feel like your family, especially like on your dad's side, does deserve like reparations, because like in a time where we should have gotten reparations, the one drop rule and a lot of that still, the grandfather clause, things like that was still in effect. And I don't want to kind of far away from like the circumstances in which we were like originally calling for reparations. So like you kind of still fit within that mold. I wish you would actually like identify, with your melanin. But I guess when you live the life of a white man, it's hard to actually kind of identify with us.
Oh no,
Also,
sir.
like,
If I could correct that real quick, this is where I struggle with it, because anytime I speak to people, like even as a kid, I always identified with my black side, and I was told by other black people I couldn't identify with it because of my melanation. It's not necessarily me going out of my way not to identify with it, because trust me, as a kid and even growing up, and even now as a 19-year-old,
I don't think it's
to
more so how you identify for us when you speak. I think it's more so like that you're white passing now. Like the black has fleshed out enough where if, let's say, for like I was in the army, let's just say for instance, like, so I know how people could react to basically how they perceive you. If me and you were both like in a group and I walked away and there was a racist white man, would he be comfortable enough to tell you something racist behind my back?
probably, more than likely.
That's what I mean. You live life white passing as a white man,
So you
not
benefit
meaning
from
that
white
you,
privilege.
meaning that you, not to say that you like actually want to be white or that's how you actually like want to live, but the reality of it is like you are white passing enough where you could go to a Klan rally right now and nobody would be like, hey, who is, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
I get it.
you could, that's what I mean. Versus like me, I couldn't like put a white hood on and somebody see my hand, they gonna snatch the hood off. Like, like
Yes, sir.
you, that's what I mean. Like if you go to a job interview and the hiring manager is like, I'm not hiring, like that, rather, you can put white on your race card and nobody's going to bat an eye. You get
Yes,
that
sir.
job. Like
Yes,
it's studies out here where it says like a white guy with a criminal record has the same chance of getting a job as a black guy with a
Without
clean
one.
record.
Exactly.
Like, you get what I'm saying? And you would be in that. So you, as a white passing man with a clean record, you would have like, you benefit from those things, and it's not your fault, which
Yes,
is
sir.
why I don't actually fault you for anything. I actually applaud you for coming up here, and I still think that your household deserves reparations, because there is a time period in which we call for reparations where you wouldn't have been able to vote because your grandfather was black.
Yes, sir.
That's just me personally. You know
Yes,
what I
sir.
mean?
I appreciate that, Troy. So like life, yeah, it is pretty complicated, and you identify as a black man. I'm not gonna take that away from you. Now, just like how Trail said, it's not your fault the way that you look, but what I would also say is that you can use that. You can use your benefits. You know what I'm saying? Because like how Trail said, there are people who are going to be comfortable enough around you to say racist shit. So guess what you could do? You could be like, all right, let me go ahead and go to my family, or like a Trail was around, right? And some people said something racist around you. You could go back to him and be like, hey, yo, look out for these people. You know what I mean? You could use that. You know what I mean? So like it's not your fault. Unfortunately, and just like how Trail said, he thinks that your family still deserves it because you're probably still in the community, and you can be in community with black folks. Unfortunately, there's gonna be time where, because you're more white passing, you might get othered, and you have to explain, your admixture and everything like that. But if you identify as a certain thing, but society treats you a certain way, it's not your fault, but you can still use that. Yeah, you
Yes,
see what I'm
sir.
saying, Life?
Yes, sir. And I appreciate the time and like on it answering the questions, because I didn't come up here to be disingenuous or like be harmful to anybody at all. I was genuinely curious because I've heard so many different things throughout so many different, so I do appreciate the time a lot.
Can I say
And
something to you, Life, before
Yeah.
I go and before you go?
yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am.
You don't have to call me yes, ma'am.
Granny raised me that way. I'm sorry.
I got gray hair, but I ain't that old. Stop.
Granny, that's how Granny. That's how
Just
Granny
like
raised me.
along the lines what Bosi was saying, don't be ashamed of your heritage. Don't be ashamed of your genotype, because there is a difference between genotype and phenotype. And because we're not operating under that one drop rule, miss, you benefit. You have privilege. Use your privilege to pull people up. Use your privilege to do right. Like, use your privilege to educate other people if you can stomach it, because sometimes some people are so stuck in their delusion and their ignorance, you don't want to deal with it. I get it, because I'll walk away in a minute and cuss somebody out. I get it, babe. But use your privilege for what it is, because you might be in a position at 35 years old and being a manager and have a master's degree, and you might see somebody that remind you of your grandfather, or you want to help out. Like you talked about how your paternal family struggled, with bills, or they struggled trying to find a job and do this. Like, you can stand in the gap and be like, look, I come from where you from. This is my heritage. This is my story, because your story matter. All these collective stories matter, and it illustrates how crazy race in America has really traumatized us all. So use your privilege. I'll never tell anybody don't use your privilege. Use your privilege for the better in helping people, helping people who are not as privileged. And that's when you are implementing equity. That's when you are really doing right. Like, equality is equality. We need equity. We need people to really be educated and to understand these plights and have these conversations. But don't let nobody make you ashamed of you.
Exactly. But hey, I do appreciate you, though, Life. Go ahead and drop me a follow. We'll definitely talk about it more, because it's complicated, but it's a conversation to be had. But I appreciate you. All right.
Yes, sir. I appreciate all three of you. Thank you. I'm gonna drop down. You guys have a good day. Stay safe. God bless you guys.
You as well.
That's such a cute 19-year-old. Bye, Bossy. I hope you get some rest. You look tired, huh?
We'll do. I appreciate you, Chelsea. Appreciate you so much. Thank you. All right, Trill, if you would like to stay up, you can stay. Andrew, you are going to be next. Let me just let my callers know. All right, so for the callers, Julius and Garrett, you guys are next, okay? Just please be patient with me. I appreciate y'all for being patient, but y'all are next. Over on my Facebook, Bundy, the call number is pinned right here. You see the call number, right? 786-751-7853, because we got to talk about that coon ass shit that you was doing on my post. So go ahead and call in. And you already said that you want to debate me. So let's go ahead and talk about that. All right, Andrew, I appreciate you being up. I appreciate you being patient. Thank you so much. Andrew, are you at least 18? And did you disagree with what I had on the board?
Oh, yeah, I'm 18 directly, and I had a couple disagreements, yeah.
Yeah, sure. Okay, not a problem. We'll go ahead and talk, and then I'm gonna get to my callers. All right, what did you disagree with? You're gonna talk to me first, and Trell may have something to talk to you about as well. I'm gonna put 10 minutes so you can talk to me, and then you can talk to Trell. All right, Trell, be patient with me, and then I'll let you talk to Andrew next. All right, appreciate you, bro. All right, Andrew, go ahead and talk to me for 10 minutes, 30 seconds. What you got? What did you disagree with?
Okay, I just want to establish a couple things before we start. I don't support racism. I think it's a terrible thing. But you did say that reparations should go for Black Americans. Now, you said, what, $100,000 per Black family, you think?
Yeah, per Black family, Black household, sure.
Okay. Yeah, and then what my question is going to be in the future, but wait for me to finish. My original question is going to be, why should the U.S. Be funding the Blacks? And then also, I heard you make a claim that saying that slaves, built America. Now, I do agree that they did help build America through, politics and law and, the economy. Though the Africans that came in, they were now the African Americans, wouldn't even be able to work if it wasn't for the founding fathers. Our founding fathers have created the independent colonies, and later what we like to call the U.S. of A. And I would just like to say that Yeah, I think that reparations should not be given to the African Americans from trauma for slavery, and I would like you to tell me why you disagree.
Okay. First of all, when it comes to the founding fathers, there were 41 of them. 41 of the 55 of the founding fathers owned slaves. So that means nothing to me. But the second thing that I would say is that I already actually explained it earlier before. The reason why African Americans are owed reparations is because this government was complicit, or even not just complicit, but they're the ones who actually suppressed African American progress economically, socially, and politically through not just slavery, but Jim Crow, black codes, the war on drugs, and especially redlining. Redlining was the main thing that caused the wealth gap between black families and white families. And because that the government was complicit in that, and not just them, but also private industries, insurance companies, banks, etc., because they did that, because they damaged these communities, because they're the ones who damaged it, they should be the ones to fix it. And I don't see the reason why we shouldn't do that.
Okay, so just because you have a history of the blacks, like your ancestors, getting trauma, what makes you think that now the recent African Americans deserve reparations? Just because you have a history of your people doesn't mean that alternatively the newer generation deserves reparations. Just because I have a sorry.
Do we still see the damage of what was caused back then today?
We can see racism. We can see discrimination towards the African American community. We don't see slavery
so the damage that was caused back then, do we still see it today?
Parts of it, not the main things like slavery and segregation.
What do you think the stereotype of black people being, or especially black men specifically, being brutish beasts who can't control themselves, where do you think that came from?
I would mostly think that the white slave owners.
Yeah, that came from slavery. So because that stereotype still exists over 200 years later, we still see the damage today, correct?
Stereotypes and discrimination, we do.
Stereotype and discrimination, we still see them today. And now, not only that, but also institutions. Like, for example, did you know that there's still like racial issues even within the healthcare system, where they believe that black people are basically stronger and have higher pain tolerance, and therefore we're less likely to get pain medication to regulate our pain. And not only that, when we do ask for that, they think that we're drug seeking because of like the crack epidemic and stuff like that. Like, so we still see the damage of discrimination still to this day, right?
Well, it's factually and historically proven that the blacks are stronger than predominantly stronger than different races. It doesn't justify the hospital.
Andrew, can I just say something? Please stop saying the blacks. That makes no damn sense, bro. What the hell is the blacks?
Yeah, the blacks represent the African Americans.
Right. So black people, correct?
Yeah, but the blacks is a term, not just derogatory term.
No, it is, because it makes us feel it basically others us as things and not actual people. So just say black people instead of saying the blacks.
Well, like they say the blacks, the whites, they say they all say it. It's not a derogatory term.
In my life, I don't say the whites. I say white people. I don't say the blacks. I say black people. I don't say the Asians. I say Asian people, because the in front of it others us as an object, not as a group.
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah, well, that's a mutual and retrospect situation, not a commonly and historically proven derogatory term.
Right. So it's derogatory when you use it here. So just stop using the blacks and say black people. And it's not been proven that black people. It's not been proven that black people have a higher pain tolerance than white people. That's not proven.
Well, I didn't say pain tolerance. I said athletics. When you see the basketball community, African Americans are predominantly.
Yeah, because like people of West African descent, we just build muscle easier. That's all good and well. But we when it comes but when it comes to our treatment in hospitals, when we treat it like we're drug seeking, or we're treating it as unruly, or not knowing what we're talking about, or women's pain are ignored, these are all issues that we need to resolve, right? And all this came from slavery.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard me earlier. I said that African Americans are predominantly stronger, but I didn't think it justified that whole health issue that you induced.
Right. So what I'm saying is that when we take a look at these things, we take a look at, employment, real estate, healthcare, all these things damage African Americans socially and economically, right? So why shouldn't all that be addressed so we can fix it?
Well, if we look down at the history, African Americans were obviously seen as not even real humans. I guess they were just seen as slave laborers, right?
Correct.
So after some of them escaped, and if you don't believe me, I would like you to prove me this wrong again. They had to flee, and as they had to flee, they couldn't work real normal jobs, so they had to steal, and they had to provide for their family, right?
No.
Can you prove me wrong on that?
Yeah, because when we look at the thousands of lynchings that were going on with Black people around that time, it wasn't about stealing or anything like that. It was like stupid stuff like looking at a white woman and scaring her. It wasn't about stealing.
I didn't say that. I'm saying that the reason that African Americans were stereotyped. This is why it came later on. I know that again, that's what happened.
That actually happened directly after slavery, that they were stereotyped as criminals. It wasn't even like, a little while later where Black people had to steal. They just called them. Matter of fact, even during slavery, they said that Black people were thieves and lascivious and couldn't control their lustful emotions and stuff like that. That was a thing during slavery, not even after it. It was during slavery.
Yeah, I never claimed that during slavery that the slaves weren't insulted or weren't discriminated and segregated. What I was saying was that because of the African American slave laborers, when they had to escape to get their freedom, again, let's just make this establish this. I didn't support slavery. I don't think it was a good thing. I don't think racism was a good thing. But what I'm saying is they did have to steal because they couldn't work a real job, or then their identity would have been released and then they would have been found. So they knew they had to steal, and I can't blame them for stealing. Sure, it wasn't right, but I think it's a little bit justified. Now, as they did that, it's from generational length. It was taught, and that's why you see a lot of things like in African American communities, especially in Chicago. If you can fact this on, and this isn't supposed to attack your race. I really like the African American.
Right. So Andrew, what I'm saying is that what you're saying is basically like pseudo history, right? That's not what happened. This entire thing of African Americans having a criminal stereotype, it didn't start after slavery. It started within slavery in of itself. You know what I mean? Saying that Black people are most likely to steal, are going to be lustful and can't control their loins around women or around white women specifically, et cetera, et cetera. It happened during slavery. It wasn't that after slavery, Black people couldn't work, so they had to steal, and that's how the stereotype came about. It came about during slavery. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, sure. Sure. After slavery, there were poor people out there who had to steal, right? But like, what I'm saying is that the Black people who did steal because they couldn't afford anything or anything like that, that was already a stereotype put on them. That stereotype didn't exist after slavery, except it existed before and during slavery. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't like after slavery, Black people couldn't work, therefore they all stole, therefore the stereotype. No, it wasn't like that.
Yeah. So what you said basically is I do believe it came during, and I also became it linked on after. But what you said is that there were some people, poor slave laborers that had to steal. And my question is, what makes any slave laborer any more value? They didn't get paid. Some of them did, in very rare occasions. Some got paid, but they all didn't get paid. So all of them.
What do you mean by that?
You said you claimed that there were some slave laborers that were poor that had to steal, but all of them did. I mean, there's some, not all of them, but a very big majority, because they didn't get paid. They were taken from ships from their African leaders who sent them, and in the triangular exchange through Europe and America and Africa. They were all poor. They didn't get paid.
I'm kind of lost on what you mean. You're talking about during slavery, Black people were stealing things? I'm not sure what you mean.
After they escaped, yeah.
Oh, like in the during the Underground Railroad. No, like they knew how to till the land and everything like that. They were able to grow their own food.
Yeah, I didn't say they weren't able to grow their own food, but they weren't able to work real jobs to get paid. How would they have got paid?
No, they were working the docks and everything like that. That's what happened. Matter of fact, this is one of the reasons why the Irish became racist against us, because we were working on the docks in New York City after the Underground Railroad and up north and stuff like that. This is how like the Irish community started to become racist against us, because up in like Detroit and Philadelphia, well, not Philadelphia, but up in New York and places like that, black people were working the docks, or were working in like low wage jobs that the Irish were usually working at. And, you know, because of white supremacy, they were encouraged to be racist against us. But and yeah, in hotels and stuff like that, as stuff like that. So that's where that came from. They were working. As a matter of fact, one of the big issues that caused Bleeding Kansas is the people who wanted to keep slavery were afraid that black people were going to take their jobs. A lot of shit that we're hearing today against immigrants. You know what I mean? But that's 10 minutes for me. Trell, did you have anything for Andrew? Trell?
I mean, like she. It's like a lot of it is really off the mark. A lot of it, like before we even get into like the actual argument, because that's why I want to get into like the argument for like reparations. We gotta get like facts straight. Like we gotta agree on something before we get into like the meats and potatoes and stuff. It's like I mean, so what is your true argument like for why you don't think we deserve reparations? Like what's the like? Because you kind of went like, what's the real?
Yeah, we never got into that. What is your real?
You get what I'm saying? Like
beef with reparations?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do think topic got a little bit pivoted, and
that's what I mean. Like what you know? Let's get into that. Like I'm playing the game, and I just been listening. I'm like, I'm trying to figure out like what's the real, so we can talk about
exactly. Why are you really against reparations? Because you just say, oh, you think that we don't deserve it, but I've already like given the reason why African Americans should get reparations, because the government, you know, suppressed their economic and political potential, and along with private companies, through government policies, through terror. You know what I mean? Do things like that. So if the government was involved in damaging the African American community, why shouldn't they fix it?
Yeah. So again, I think when we're going to the generational links of the criminal activity that went on, and you were trying to claim that they worked at docks and the hotels and all of that. Well, I mean, yeah, sure. I guarantee you there were some slavers that worked, but if we look at the point,
bro, that's irrelevant. Hold on, Andrew. This is what I want to say. That's irrelevant.
It is irrelevant. I'm trying to connect it.
Right.
I'm trying to link it.
But nothing is linked here. African Americans were damaged by the government in this country. Why shouldn't that be fixed?
Well, because they were racially stereotyped.
So
they were racially stereotyped, and they could, because of what they did after. So there was no trust. There wasn't any trust. And
okay. So Andrew, let me understand it. So Andrew, let me understand this. So because African Americans were unfairly stereotyped, they shouldn't get reparations. That sounds crazy.
What wasn't unfairly, and again, that wasn't my whole point. It wasn't just all about stereotypes.
I'm trying to get to exactly what you mean. African Americans.
Do you get why I asked that question?
Yeah, I do get why you asked that question.
Like, what are we
talking about? All right, we I don't think we're gonna get anywhere, bro. I ain't gonna lie, Troy. I don't think we're gonna get anywhere, man. I don't think we're gonna get anywhere.
That's why I didn't entertain it. That's why I didn't entertain it, because I'm like, okay, what are we really? Because like, why are you like with the history of like, yeah, but they did steal, but then they didn't, and then when you think about it, they had a reason to steal, but you can't blame people for calling them thieves for having a reason to steal, and they were stealing after slave. I'm like, wait, like what? So
what like, are we talking about?
How are we linking this to why you think they don't deserve reparations? Because basically your argument then boils down to, okay, like based off of her like fallacious history or revisionist history that she was taught in like some Texas town. I don't know. But basically what the argument boils down to is like, okay, after slavery, We were given terrible conditions, so we had to be every stereotype in the book. But she doesn't blame us for being the stereotype, but she also doesn't blame us for being punished for those stereotypes. Therefore, we don't deserve reparations.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. All right,
Because
so
like technically you were that. Like
yeah, yeah, exactly. All right, so branded curse, the person with the American flag on their thing. Trump is a racist because of what he posted today. Duh. All right. So Trell, I do appreciate you being up. I gotta go ahead and get to the callers. You're gonna be able to hear them, but they're not gonna be able to hear you. So
that's cool.
that's why I gotta drop you for a second. But hey, Trell, drop
All
me a
right, you
follow,
good, bro.
man. I do appreciate you. I definitely talk about these a lot, so definitely come by next time if you like. All right, bro.
All right, I got you, bro.
I appreciate you. Caddy, what's going on, Caddy? I know you had some questions, but I'm gonna get to the calls. Go ahead and stay up, and I'm gonna get to the calls, and I got you. All right, I'm gonna just get to Garrett real quick. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and start taking calls now. So for everybody who's watching me from YouTube, again, the call-in number is right there. For people who are watching me over on my YouTube on Volsy Thoughts, again, y'all, the call-in number is right there. Right fucking there. Y'all keep calling me ignorant, keep calling me all these other things. 786-751-7853 tree. Call in. It's right there, bro. I don't know why y'all are so against this, but anyway, Garrett, I think I spoke to you before because the system remembers you. How old were you again, and what did you disagree with?
My name's Garrett, and I'm 21, and I disagreed with you on America was never great.
All right, yeah. So America was never great. Did you want me to repeat what I stated before?
Sure, you can repeat that.
All right. So America was what was never great. Not when it comes to greatness of a country, right? The way that I judge it is not by economics or power of the military. The way that I judge it is building institutions that spread freedom, justice, and opportunity for all. Across the board, not just for a certain amount of people, but across the board, especially for the citizens of your country that do not have power, right? So I believe in pro-social and pro-humane principles. These are principles that America actually set out to do, which is what they say in their Bill of Rights, but they do not actually build those institutions. As a matter of fact, we see that many times they fight against policies that would expand those rights, that would expand those freedoms, that would expand those privileges to all their citizens. Because of that, America cannot be great.
Okay, you lay out valid points, but just can you name me a country that is great? I'm just curious to find one that is great.
We're talking about America. That'll be irrelevant.
Okay, we're talking about America. Well, actually, I mean, I think this country is pretty great. I mean, all the citizens have equal power.
No, we don't.
What citizens don't have equal power?
Anyone who's not in the 1%.
Right, but people outside the 1% become president of the country.
No, they don't.
I mean, I'll cite you one person, Barack Obama.
Mm-hmm.
He's outside the 1%, and he became president of the United States.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah. When it comes to that, right? Yeah, they do become president, but the policies that pass, who do they benefit?
They benefit the people who voted for them, their supporters.
No, it benefits the 1%. Like every single time, every single analysis that's been done on American policy and what gets passed, overwhelmingly the policies that get passed benefit the 1%, not the rest of us. But when we talk about but let's be fair, right? Because I know that's not what you're talking about when it comes to equal power. Let's be fair. When you ask who doesn't have equal power, when you say power, what exactly are you picturing in your mind? What does that mean to you?
I mean, to me, power means like the ability to change the country and to change the world. And U.S. presidents have the power to do that. You know, they could decide to nuke a country or something.
Okay,
have the power to change the world.
So the ability to move society and change things. If that's what you mean by power, because there's hard power and there's soft power. Hard power, we already know what it is weapons. Soft power is influence. If you're going to talk about soft power, yeah, African Americans have the biggest soft power that we've seen across this planet, because every single American export of American culture has come from African Americans, right? So yeah, African Americans have a lot of soft power. However, because of that soft power, what did that turn into? Did that turn into anything of economic benefit? Because again, the wealth gap between white families and black families is quite large. So just because the African Americans had that soft power, what did that turn into? They did that power couldn't be used to benefit them, right? It was monetized by people outside of them.
Right. Okay. It was monetized by people outside of them, you said?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it was monetized by a community outside them, and to their detriment as well.
Uh-huh. Well, I mean, America was built by the settlers who came in and settled it. And most
The
of them were
settlers
European.
enslaved people
Now,
and committed genocide. So that's what built America.
genocide?
Yeah, the Native Americans.
Right. I don't think it was an intentional genocide. I mean, Europeans coming into the Americas.
It was intentional.
Most of the Native American casualties, it was from diseases.
It was
not intentional.
It was intentional. Like smallpox blankets were real. They purposely get the smallpox blankets. Like Custer, the Battle of Wounded Knee, he purposely went after women and children. So did many generals around that time. It was purposeful. Matter of fact, one of the slogans around that time is "The only good Indian is a dead Indian." It was purposeful.
Right, but I mean, Native Americans were doing pretty bad things.
Native Americans were doing pretty bad things. Which Native American tribe was doing human sacrifice?
The Aztecs. And they were an empire, a brutal empire. Built on death.
Mexico? Are we talking about Mexico or America?
I'm talking about Native Americans because they're all Native Americans. They're native to the American continent.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you realize there's a difference between Aztecs, and Cherokee and Iroquois, right? So 3 different groups of people.
They all came into the Americas though, because no one lived there.
Garrett. You realize there's a difference between the Aztecs, the Maya, the Iroquois, and the Cherokee. Those are 4 different groups of people. So you can't say because the Aztecs were doing human sacrifice, therefore the Cherokee deserve to be wiped off the map. That's stupid.
Oh, okay, sure. What about the Comanche?
That's
they were
like
in the
saying
United States. They were in the United States and they scalped people.
Yeah, they scalped people who were there at war with, which is one of them was the settlers.
Okay, well, we were at war with them, so being at war.
Yeah,
is not
who started the war?
For violence.
Who started the war?
Who started the war? It was a series of multiple wars and contiguous with the same belligerent.
Yeah, who started the war with the Comanche? Who broke the treaties with the Comanche?
To my knowledge, it was the Spanish, actually.
Yeah, so they should have scalped their ass because the Spanish were killing their children. That's righteous.
Okay. Can we talk about religion?
Yeah, sure. Which one did you disagree with?
What were the religious, what were the religious things you had?
Can you give me a reason to believe in your God? And faith is unreliable.
Okay, how about faith is unreliable?
Yeah, I think faith is unreliable I think faith is unreliable for you to get to the truth because that's just really honestly an obvious one to me, because you can believe on something strongly on faith and be right about it, but you can also believe something strongly on faith and be 100% wrong about it. So you need something more than faith in order to know if what you're saying is the truth or not, right or wrong.
Right, but you can prove things scientifically based on faith.
No, you can't.
Yes,
How do you
can?
If you prove something scientifically, then it's not faith. What do you mean?
No, it's
hold on.
I'm saying the church has done positive things like scientific development. Really, a lot of religions have done that. Islam,
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. I'm not saying that.
Confucianism.
No, I'm not. I agree with you. I'm not saying that faithful people can't be scientists. Yeah, sure, but faith doesn't prove anything in science.
Well, I mean, you look at let's just go with the Christians, for example. They believe in like God created the universe.
No, but again, Garrett, I agree that religious people and faithful people can be men and women of science. I don't disagree with that at all. The Big Bang Theory was discovered. Hold on, the Big Bang Theory was discovered by a Catholic priest. So I don't disagree with you. What I'm saying is that within science, faith doesn't really prove anything within science. That they're diametrically opposed because faith doesn't require evidence, but science does.
But you could say from a Catholic perspective, like the Big Bang proves we were all created, proves that the word universe was created because, you know, we see, and the Big Bang is correct, you know, it's obviously the true thing. And we see background radiation, and that fits with what God said because God created the universe with the Big Bang, in my opinion.
Right. Okay. So the thing is that's putting the cart before the horse because we know the Big Bang happened. But if you're going to say that the Big Bang came from a God, you need to now prove that God first. You just can't say now that we know that this universal expansion happened, therefore there's a God. You're skipping a step. You need to show the God.
Well, we can prove that God. We can prove that God because He came to us.
Right. Okay. Sure.
What's
all right? Sure. What's the evidence that Jesus was a God?
Well, someone asked him, "Are you the Son of the Blessed?" And he says, "Yes, I am the Son of the Blessed. I am the Christ." That's him saying
he also resurrected after his death.
Andrew, give me a second.
Performed several miracles.
Okay. Yeah. So So just because Jesus said something, that makes it true because He said so.
Well, I mean, also there's other proof, like the resurrection was witnessed by women first. They saw Him first. And usually back in ancient times, you would never rely on women for anything. They thought women were like these insignificant people. And
all right, but Garrett. So what?
like,
Garrett, so what?
Trying to push a
Garrett,
go with women.
Garrett, so what? A story about hold on, listen, that's what I'm saying. A story about women seeing something doesn't make it true.
Right, but it's pretty strong because in ancient times, at the context,
that's irrelevant, bro.
Women were viewed.
That's irrelevant, bro. That's completely no, it's not.
That is relevant to the argument.
No, it's not. But it doesn't make the argument any stronger. Women can lie.
Women can lie, but yeah, you wouldn't go to women for your testimony back then, though. But
so
they did. So that kind of proves.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Women seeing something doesn't make it true. Or a story about listen. A story about a woman claiming to see something doesn't make it true. Even in ancient times, if women weren't believed, that still doesn't make it true. So what? Women weren't believed back then, and these women say they saw something. Yeah, so what does that prove? Okay, that's just hearsay. You actually need to show that resurrection is even possible first.
Okay, I'm not here to die on this hill. I'll concede you that point, I don't have skin in the game. I'll concede you the point. You win.
All right, cool. All right. Appreciate you guys being here. Caddy, how's it going, Caddy? Before I get to my other callers, 252 and 949. All right, 252 and 949. I'm gonna get you guys next. I appreciate y'all being here. Again, Bundy over on my Facebook. I already gave you the number. You can go ahead and call in whenever you're free because you always said that you wanted to debate me and you haven't called in yet. Caddy, how's it going, bro? What's going on,
man? Bro? That is a lot of ignorance today, bro.
It's a lot today.
Like when they start talking about Abrahamics as if they're like this pretty saint thing, they're not. Abrahamic history is convoluted with a lot of violence and a lot of conquering and a lot of colonizing. And they can't separate scholar history from actual Abrahamic history. And it's not pretty. It's not pretty history. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's no justification for a lot of it.
Oh, bad. There really isn't. Let me take this next caller, 252. You are up on the board now. And after 252, I'm going to get to you, Andrew. All right. So 252, how's it going? Can I get your name, age, and what did you disagree with that I had on the board?
My name is Terrence, age 63. What I disagree with is the whole concept of reparations.
All right, cool.
Michael Imhotep asked the question, was slavery illegal? So I pose that to the listeners and to yourself. Was slavery from 1619 to 1863 illegal? And the reason why I ask that question is the only time you can take anyone to court if there's an offense, if it was something on the books that says this was wrong, this is illegal, there is a law stating that if this happens, someone can sue, someone can file charges. So again, I asked you from 1619 to 1863, or from 1776 to 1863, was slavery illegal?
No, it wasn't. So
there is no basis that you can ask for reparations for slavery.
Sure you can.
What you can ask for reparation is
sure you can. Sure you can. Sure you can. Because you know why? Because putting the Japanese in internment camps was also legal, and they got reparations. The Holocaust was also legal, and they got reparations. Legality doesn't speak to morality, nor does it speak to damage. So when you ask for reparations, it's more of the damage that was caused, not something was legal or not. Your argument is dumb. And not only that, reparations won't only be for slavery. They will also be for redlining. Redlining was legal. Jim Crow was legal. Black codes were legal. All of those damaged the African-American community. So even according to your own argument, there would still be a case of reparations. What are you saying, Terrence?
Exactly what I just said. Now, what I want to say, I don't think that blacks, well, the system is not going to give reparations because the system is wicked, evil, corrupt. So to have a hope, a faith, and a trust that a wicked system would pay us off for what they've done to us, I think that's dumb.
As a matter of fact, I don't even have beef with that. I think that position is rational. I think that's a rational position. We shouldn't expect an evil system to repair something because it's an evil system. I could respect that.
All right. Now, what I want to say also, so when people ask for reparations for slavery, I don't think that's going to happen. But what they could ask for reparations is for everything that you mentioned, from the bill, no, not the Bill of Rights, for the 13th and 14th and 15th amendments being smashed in the South, and the redlining, Jim Crow, the overturn of the Black Republicans of the South, in the South. Now, that's legal. There were some laws on the book that were clearly broken. Now, you have to ask the question again. Now we have laws on the book that were smashed. People displaced from their homes. People in prison because of Jim Crow. Are we still going to ask a wicked system? Well, look, you did us wrong. We want money now.
Okay. So, well, what you're saying is that you shouldn't appeal to the system. You just need to topple it. I could agree with that.
Yeah. So, how do blacks topple the system?
Oh, that one would take revolution. All right. So Terrence, I want to do this first. Honestly, when you called in, I thought that you weren't up. I do apologize for being aggressive in the beginning. I apologize for that. All right. But what I would say is that we probably need to get the attitude of the Panthers back. Essentially, there needs to be a vanguard of a revolution once more. Now, revolutions are always violent, right? So we need to be careful when we say revolution. But the thing that we can do, I think, with Black people globally, a lot of people have an issue with Pan-Africanism right now. So it's what I'm saying is a bit Pan-African, but we all need to be on one accord. I think what needs to happen is that we all need to have the same ideology of we're going to do our own thing away from the Western markets. because we have enough. We have enough resources to trade in between ourselves. We have enough of a cultural similarity to speak and agree with amongst ourselves, right? I think we can definitely do that. But when it comes to United States, what I would say is the attitude of shoring up defenses, meaning if we need to have a militia to protect and patrol Black communities, go ahead and have that. But then we also do mutual aid. We set up networks and systems because we have enough Black farmers, we have enough Black truckers, we have enough Black people who deliver all around the country in order for us to communicate and send each other resources to each other, because the most things that we need is things like food, things like shelter, etc. I think we have the expertise within the Black community, just in America, to provide that in between each other. The issue is we're too atomized. So we need to come on one. When I say atomized, meaning that everybody's doing their own thing, even though if they may agree with it, they're all just doing their own thing. We have this organization doing this over here, this organization doing things this over here, this organization doing this over here, and they're all in the same city. So why not just share the resources, come to on one accord? Does all that make sense to you, Terrence?
It's excellent points, yet the only problem is Black people are human.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is we're, like all humans, we're apt to disagree.
Mm-hmm.
Even when our backs are against the wall. Some will say, hey, we need to topple Whitey. No, we need to do economics. No, we need to Pan-Africanism.
Mm-hmm.
We're human. We're apt to disagree, because that's what humans do.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately for us, our backs are not against the wall yet. Let me ask you this, because I heard only Malcolm and Francis Cress Wessling posed this question.
Mm-hmm.
Malcolm said in his last speech, he said, if we don't do something, they'll be putting us in the gas chamber.
Mm-hmm.
And Francis Cress Wessling posed the same question. I said, when I first heard those two speeches from those two people, I said, what an extreme concept. This country would never do anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm fearful that they might be making the gas chambers for us next. That ICE is just only a dress rehearsal.
I've been saying that. I've been saying that. Now, what people have said to me is that, since I'm immigrant born, I'm the one who has to be worried about ICE. But I've also said that, y'all, whenever ICE goes anywhere, they introduce themselves as the police. And we know what the police does to Black people in this country. So don't think that it's just like you said, it's a dress rehearsal. You know what I mean? Right now is the time to shore up defenses. You know what I mean? Because we already know what's going to happen. Yeah, I mean, Black Americans have always been the primary target. They're gonna dress rehearsal on somebody else first, and then they're gonna go after Black Americans second. Like we all know that. Exactly. You know what I mean? So now I do agree with you, right? When it comes to humans, we're going to disagree. People are going to be, disagreeable. What I've always said is that unity does not have to be uniformity, and I think that's a mistake that a lot of us make when it comes to like a social movement in this country, that we have to agree on absolutely everything. I think if we agree on an overall goal and most of the tenets of the goal, then the details can be hashed out. I think what happens is that when it comes to Black social movement, right, Black societies and everything like that, Black social movements, essentially 95% of the things people agree with is just that 5% where people are fighting over. You know what I mean? Like, for example, whenever I see someone like a Tariq Nasheed and a Deontay Cowell fighting each other, right? I've always said these two men here, they'll probably, if they were to sit down and be honest with each other, they will probably agree on things 90% of the way. And then that 10% is what's causing them to beef. You know what I mean? But we shouldn't be beefing over that 10%. We should hash out why we disagree on that 10%. And even if we go our ways of like, all right, well, we just got to agree to disagree. At least we agreed to disagreed, but 90% we can still work. You see what I'm saying? And that's what I've always said about these black groups or black movements or black social leaders or black thought leaders. Y'all agree on 90% of things. It's that 10% y'all don't agree. You know what I mean? It's that 90 or 95%. It's that 5% you don't agree. Now, if it's 50-50, there's going to be a problem. But if it's like 90-10, 95-5, let's work that out. You know what I mean? Let's work that out. You know what I'm saying? So it's that's what I would say. What would you say, Terrence?
Let me say you brought an excellent point, but and no, this is not trying to disrespect you, but I'll counter it with this. I remember a guy told me, and I think it's John Henry Clark.
Mm-hmm.
A friend of mine mentioned something that John Henry Clark said. When the Europeans were going to carve up Africa, you know, for the Berlin Conference, I think went on for almost 2 years before they put it in play. Remember, England fought bloody wars with France, and France fought bloody wars with Germany, and Germany fought bloody wars with Belgium.
Yep.
You get what I'm saying? And they disagreed on everything, but they said no one leaves the table until Africa is carved up.
Exactly.
No one. No one. And this is what you talk about, what you just talked about is our dilemma. Our dilemma that you know, our lives are at stake. You know, I think I was hearing Professor Black Truth talk about him celebrating that 30 seats, black seats in Congress. He's celebrating because he feels that black Congress people are not doing anything for black people anyway. That is 30 seats of majority black voters and representation without black representation. What do you think is going to happen to those people? What do you think?
It's dark.
I don't believe in the voting process, the political process at all. I believe that is corrupt.
Oh, it's corrupt. Yeah, I agree that's corrupt because of all the money that's involved in it. Like the quickest way to get rich is to be voted into Congress. Tell you the truth, like you feel me. So, but you already know you've been on Earth longer than me, so you already know, bro. But what I would say, what happened to those people is gonna get dark. That's what I would say. If black people come together and become a revolution, I think the people who are in Congress right now would be the first ones to get the chopping block. And when I say get the chopping block, I mean a literal chopping block. You know what I'm saying? So it'll get dark for those people. And just like how you said, a lot of times it's tough to vote your way out of this. We have to do it within our. Here's what I would say, right? Local voting is what matters the most. Your school board, your mayor, your sheriff.
Yeah.
Those are what matters the most. And then nationally, you can move it up. If I'm saying so, I think that's what needs to come back. Unfortunately, we don't have the Black Panther Party of self-defense anymore. You know what I'm saying? So it's like if that still existed, those were where a lot of the national leaders would come from. But there's something that we can do with it again. We can create a party that was sort of like kind of like the Black Panthers or something that's after it, and get into local elections. And then when it gets to the national elections, the people who are on a national side come from that local party. Does that make sense to you, what I'm saying, Terrence?
I've heard that same thing. And that made me want to get back, or at least think about get back into the local process. I believe everything is corrupt. But someone said, they told me, why don't you, instead of voting blindly, why don't you do a little research on the candidates, mayor, governor, U.S. attorney, U.S. senator, not U.S. senator, North Carolina. I'm from North Carolina. North Carolina senator. Why don't you do some research on them?
Yeah, exactly.
Then make up your mind about voting, because when I did vote, I would just vote blindly. They told me, I remember going to a polling place. This is when I'm originally from New York. This is when Mayor Dinkins was running against Rudy Giuliani. And a woman that lived in my building was running the poll. You know what she said? Vote Democrat all the way down, without me not knowing what I heard knowing if I knew anything about the people I was voting the level for.
Yeah, true.
She had no clue. She had no clue if I knew anything. Just vote all the way down. Democrat all the way down. That's the whole way of thinking about things. We really do have to, and we don't invest in our politicians.
Yeah, we need
don't
some
invest
more.
in them. Mm-hmm.
All right,
Well,
so Terrence,
I'm gonna land my plane. Go
I got
Go
you.
ahead.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, I appreciate you being up, but I'm gonna go ahead and get to the next callers. But again, I appreciate you, and I do apologize for kind of coming off abrasive at first. I thought you weren't up, that's why I apologize. But I do appreciate you being up here. All right.
You said what?
No, I thought you
what?
I thought you were opposition. That's why I came off kind of abrasive.
Oh no. I don't do that, man. Listen, don't listen to too much Jason Black in them, man. They, you know, and Tariq, don't listen too much to them. They're reality YouTube. They're not information anymore.
I got
you. That's my opinion. All right, my brother. Thank you.
No problem. I appreciate you. All right, guys. 949-571. And Garrett, you're calling in again. I don't know why, but 949. I'm gonna get to you in just a moment. I do have. Yeah, go ahead, Caddy.
Real quick, I gotta address this woman this dude down below. You gotta understand something about the white colonizer, particularly the white race in general. First of all, when we came into this country, this land, we colonized it, and we weren't the desirables that Europe actually wanted. Europe actually let people come here because they didn't want them, because they were religious extremists and other types. So when America was born, it took in and it did a lot of genocidal things and a lot of racist things. Racism is built within the American system. It is baked in. When you talked about slaves fleeing and then stealing, that's a misunderstanding, a complete misunderstanding, and not even educational. In fact, when they did get a chance to escape, they fled eastward. And the East, keep in mind, the politics in the East was only offering freedom for the slaves because of economic conditions between the East versus the South. That's why they were even considering allowing freedom for the slaves. So when you get into that context, you have to understand systematic racism and capitalism and gender and race. These things are European mental constructs that, further got united and divided in different other ways throughout the course of history. So history is very nuanced in that sense. And when you want to talk about why capitalism is bad, well, capitalism is the dilution of culture. Let's take the American white person, for example. The American white person doesn't have any connection with its European ancestral roots. It takes all this American idealism or these false American dream things and crafts an identity that's not real. The amount of things that made this country were a bunch of people who were enslaved. Yes, they made a lot of things and they did a lot of things. When we talk about the white man and its position in it, we're talking about Irish and Italians. And when Volsi has mentioned, how they felt when their jobs were getting taken because new people were coming in and taking those jobs. So they felt kind of like, upset about that. So what the country did was unify whiteness underneath religious categories, because all white people did not get along. The Irish hated the Italians, Italians didn't like the Irish. And then we had, the Brits and other things like that. We had those issues. But what the government did for capitalism's sake is it united whiteness, further creating a further stronger white power dynamic. So you have to understand, like, this country, the top 1% of wealth is within white people's hands. Those are the majority of the rich, the top wealthy are white.
All right.
Sorry,
All right. I
didn't mean to, man. I didn't mean to go on.
No, all good. All good, Caddy. All good, Caddy. All right. 949. I know you've been there for a while. 949. I'm gonna go ahead and bring you on the stage just so I can get your name and everything like that. But I'm gonna talk to Andrew real quick. Andrew, give me 1 second. Let me just get this caller. 1 second. All right, 949. Can I get your name, age, and what did you disagree with?
Yeah. Are you talking to me or somebody else?
I'm talking to you. No, because your area code is 949. That's what I was asking. Can I get your name, age, and what did you disagree with?
I don't agree with reparations. My name is Derek, and I'm 62.
Derek, 62, and reparations disagreement.
Yeah.
All right, gotcha. All right,
Derek, 62.
Derek, 62. All right, Derek, give me 1 second because I have someone over on my TikTok. I'm gonna talk to them first, and I'm gonna get you right after. All right. I just didn't want you to put you on hold for so long.
Roger.
All right, gotcha. All right, Derek,
Roger
give me
that.
not a problem. All right, Derek, thank you so much. I just gotta mute you up real quick, Derek, just in case your background gets loud. All right, appreciate you. All right, Andrew. Finally, we're gonna talk to you. I appreciate you for being patient, Andrew.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
All good. All right. So, can I get your age and what did you disagree with?
Hello, my name is Andrew. I am 27, and I disagreed with the statement that America has never been great.
All right, cool. Yeah. So, did you want to hear my reasons for why I said so, or did you hear it?
Yeah, of course. I would love to. I would love to get your opinion on the matter.
Okay. So, the way that I ascertain greatness is not by economics or military might, but by pro-human and pro-social principles and building institutions that promote those pro-human and pro-social principles, right? So America's principles that are pro-human and pro-social are freedom, dignity, justice for all, and equality for all, right? However, throughout American history, they failed to build those institutions. They failed to expand those principles to everybody, especially for those who have no power in the society. And in many cases, we actually fight against it. So until that's not the case anymore, America isn't great and can't be great. And that doesn't mean that it can't be ever. It can be, and it has shown flashes of doing so. But at the current moment, it is not.
Okay, so yeah. So your claim is America has never been great, because I just got a little mixed up because you said it has shown flashes, then you said it's not great right now, but the claim says America has never been great. I just wanted to get a little more clarification on the basis of the matter, which would coincide with my interest in the topic.
Okay, sure. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't think America has ever been great because, again, it shows that it can be. Like the civil rights movement has shown that it can be flashes of greatness, women's suffrage, et cetera, et cetera. But even in those, there were issues there, right? Women's suffrage. The reason why they wanted women's suffrage so much is because they thought it was unfair that black men could vote, but white women couldn't. And those white women weren't even. Unfair. Yeah, those white women weren't even adding black women into their movement either. You know what I'm saying? So. Yeah, sure. So women's suffrage is all good and racism. So women's suffrage is all good and well, but even in that movement, there were issues. That's just my point of America not being great. What would you say, Andrew?
That's quite frankly a pretty good point, and I think that we have different what terminologies of great. Mm-hmm. From my standpoint, I believe that great means where the economy is doing good, which it has in the 1920s, not before, obviously before the Great Depression, but coming off of World War I with the Liberty Bonds. Life was going great in America for the most of the people who invested into those Liberty Bonds. And I think the other definition of great, in my standpoint, is equalness for all. And slavery aside, I feel like before all the civil rights movements, or after, I should say, I feel like everybody has the same opportunities to get. And yeah, that's my standpoint on this topic and matter of the debate. Mm-hmm. And I would.
You look good, babes. My wife looking good to go out tonight. But yeah, when it comes to like that, right, like freedom and everything like that, or equality, we don't have the equality for all. I think like for example, we didn't have it during slavery. We didn't have it during Jim Crow. What's up, babes? And we don't have it now. You see what I'm saying? So like when it comes to equality, the reason.
how do we not have equality now? Could I hear your opinion on that matter?
Yeah, sure. The way that we don't have equality now is essentially when we look at the institutions of the United States. Are there like discriminatory issues within those institutions? When we look at health, real estate, employment, the criminal justice system, what do we see? We see discrimination in all of them, and unequal discrimination in all of them. For example, in employment, this is what I always bring up. It's been shown that a white man with a criminal record has just as much of an opportunity to receive a job, and in some cities, even more opportunity to be hired at a job than a black person with a clean record. It gets even worse. It's shown that black applicants, black employees who have the same experiences, the same skill set, and basically the same type of resume as a white applicant, they're even less. Not only are they less likely to receive that job, they're more likely to get paid less than their white employee counterpart. You see what I'm saying? All this shows unequal opportunity.
Well, I feel like that the opportunistic type of the situation would be classified as moral dignity, and that we should not go back to slavery because it was bad. And I feel like the people of America have strong racial beliefs, especially the liberals, because they're racist. They're racist towards the Mexican people. And I feel like that these days, especially with the popcorn machine theory, we just have to overcome the racial dignity of white people on black people, especially pre-Civil War.
You kind of lost me there. You said that the liberals are racist against Mexicans, and I'm sorry, you kind of lost me there.
The popcorn machine theory, it would state that Teddy Roosevelt, he was a great president, and he's on the $20 bill.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and move on. We're gonna talk to Derek over on my call line. Give me 1 second there. I'm gonna unmute you real quick. All right, Kat, I'm gonna drop you real quick, but I do appreciate you, man. Go ahead and tap that screen for me, all right, bro? Appreciate you, Caddy. All right, y'all. Tap that screen, tap that screen, tap that screen. I appreciate y'all. Let's go ahead and get up to 10K likes. I appreciate it. All right, I'm gonna unmute Derek real quick. And if you would like to call in, give me 1 second, Derek. All right, so everybody who would like to who is on my YouTube and would like to call in, go ahead and call in, please. I'm not sure why y'all find it so hard. It's right there. Number's right there. All right, Derek. How's it going, Derek? Can I get you? Oh, wait, I already got that. All right, so you said you disagree with sorry about that. You said you disagree with reparations. Why is that?
I do, but first I'd like to address a little bit of America being great or not. Is that all right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I spent 10 years in the military, and because of the job that I had in the military, I traveled literally all over the globe and saw dozens of countries firsthand. And I can tell you from my own personal experience, America is definitely the greatest country on the planet currently. And I've been to dozens of countries all around the world. And if you look back at our history, while there are some things that we should not be proud of, the starting foundation of our country is something that was never tried in any other country before, since then, or from that up to that point and since then. So in my personal opinion, I think America is great compared to all the rest of the countries around the world. Secondly, I definitely don't agree with reparations simply because of the fact that why should money be taken, and I'm Latino, coming from a Latino perspective, why should money be taken from me and given to somebody else when I had absolutely nothing to do with something that happened, over almost 150 years ago, over 150 years ago at this point.
Okay, so
those are just my base.
Okay, cool. So two things. I was in the military as well. And yeah, I got a chance to travel to other places. All that is good and well, right? Like I've seen poverty. My parents are from Haiti. I've seen horrible things. But when it comes to America being great, I'm not talking about just economics and military might. I'm talking about building institutions that spread pro-human, pro-social principles. Now, the Bill of Rights has pro-human, pro-social principles. America represents itself as having pro-human, pro-social principles: dignity for all, justice for all, freedom for all, opportunity for all, equality, meritocracy. All those things are pro-human and pro-social, and it should be built into those institutions. It is not. Not only is it not built into those institutions, we fail to spread it to everybody. History shows that. And not only that, still to this day, we're still failing to spread that to everybody. So because of that measurement that I'm taken by, hold on, because of that measurement I'm taken by, that's why I say America can't be great. What was your question?
No, but I'm saying how. Yeah, I was just saying how is it not great to everybody? Everybody has the same, equal opportunities for greatness.
No, we don't.
They just have to step up and do it. I mean, what's preventing somebody from being successful?
Poverty.
And living their best life.
Poverty. The system is literally set. Our society is set up that if you are poor, you're likely going to be staying. You're likely going to stay poor. That's how it's set up.
I don't agree with that. I was horribly poor. I lived in a trailer
how do you
as a child.
You're an exception. An exception actually proves my point. Most people who grew up in the projects and who grew up in the trailer park stay in the projects in the trailer park. You didn't, but you're an exception, which proves my point.
But I'm an exception only because of my own personal drive and desire to not live that kind of life. You really
think people who lived in gang infested areas like living in gang infested areas?
I didn't like living where I lived, and I worked my way out of it.
You're an exception,
so why
like I
can't
said.
Anybody else is my question. But why am I an exception? Anybody can do that,
right? There could be multiple reasons why you're an exception. Sure, you could you could be more intelligent than others, or have more work ethic, or you just get the information that they don't have, or just pure fucking luck. There are people who just get lucky. There are people who do everything right and still lose. Have you ever heard that? Like, for example, I was a fan of Star Trek, right? I remember something that was said in Star Trek: The Next Generation. I think it was Captain Picard. He said that you can do everything right and still lose. That happens all the time because it's just structurally not made for you to win. That happens all the time. There are people who there are folks in a trailer park. There are folks in a trailer park who did exactly what you did and are still there. As a matter of fact, there's data to show this, right? There's data to show about black women, right? Black girls who grew up in impoverished areas. They looked at black girls who got pregnant in their teenage years and black girls who didn't get pregnant in their teenage years. They looked at black girls who dropped out of high school and black girls who didn't drop out of high school, who graduated. Guess what they found? They found that the black girls who got pregnant and drop out and the black girls who didn't get pregnant and drop out, they were still more likely to still be in poverty. How do you explain that?
Zero lack of drive or very low lack of drive.
Yeah, that doesn't explain that, my guy. It doesn't explain that. Again, the black girls graduated high school, did not get pregnant. You really think that they just sat their ass in the projects and didn't do shit? Really? Why would you assume that?
I'm not assuming anything. Again,
you are. You don't know who these people are. So how do you know they had no drive?
Dude, cutting me off, man. Let me finish my point.
I'm gonna let you finish your point, but
that.
I know you don't agree with that, Derek. But the fact of the matter is, this is what the data shows. The data didn't show they didn't have any drive. The data showed that they graduated high school, didn't get pregnant, and they were still more likely than their white counterparts to be in poverty. You said it was lack of drive. How do you show that to be true?
You've got like two different thoughts going on here, man. It's hard to decipher when I can talk or not, so I'm hoping I'm able to right now. Say again?
No, I was just talking to my lady. Go ahead.
Oh, I think this is a little bit of a kind of a victim mentality, and I don't subscribe to that. I myself, again, I came from a very, very poor background. I lived in a
Derek, I gotta pause you again. I gotta pause you again. I gotta pause you again because this is not addressing the data that I showed you, bro. It's not addressing the data that I showed. Okay, if you don't want to answer that, let's look at some more data. There's data that shows that Black applicants who have the same skills, the same experience as white applicants, and sometimes even more skills and more experience as white applicants, are still less likely to get employed in the employment industry. How do you explain that? Because you can't explain lack of drive there. They have the experience, they have the degrees.
I don't agree with that either.
Okay, so
I'm in an industry where
Derek, hold on. Derek, listen.
Okay.
You can't simply say I don't agree. This is what the data shows. The data shows this is true. Are you saying that? Hold on, Derek. Hold on. Stop. Pause real quick. Derek. There's only two options here. Either the data is wrong, or there's something wrong with the system. You saying the data is wrong?
What data are you talking about?
That shows me that you're not listening, Derek. That shows me that you're not listening. Let me ask.
Listening.
No, you're not, because you just said the data I'm talking about. And I just told you what the data was. You're not listening. So listen to what I'm saying again. They did hold on, Derek. I'm telling you what the data is. I'm telling you what it is. What you asked for.
Okay, but
Derek,
I don't believe that.
Derek, stop. So Derek, hold on. Derek. First, I told you what the data was. Then you say you just disagree. Then when I press you to actually address what I said, you asked me what the data was again. That shows me that you're not listening.
To the data and the
so Derek,
you're referencing.
Okay, I will. This will I'm gonna show you what this data says. Okay, so when they looked at Black applicants and white applicants who had the same experience and the same degrees, they showed that the white applicant, even though the Black applicants had the same experience and the same degrees. How would you explain that if there's not a bias in the system?
Again, I would like to see what's done in industry, and I've been in multiple industries.
Derek. There's not about your personal experience, bro. Derek, stop. There's not about your personal experience, bro. No. I'm not gonna hold on. The reason why I'm not gonna hold on is because I'm not, because you're not actually addressing what I'm saying. You're just saying, "Oh, I want to see it." You can see it if you want. That's fine.
I'm addressing it if you let me speak.
But you're not addressing it because you're going off your experience. The reason why you're not addressing it. The reason I'm going to put on mute again. Why you're not addressing it is because it's not about your personal experience. This is about what the data shows. You can have all the personal experience that you want. I've had personal experience where everybody in my job was Black. That was my personal experience. That doesn't necessarily show what the data shows. So again, address what the data shows. How do you explain what the data shows? How do you explain it? You're off mute now.
Okay, great. You have two different speaking things going on in my ear, so it's hard to focus on what you're saying. So I would like to see what study you're referencing and what you're talking about.
Okay, fine.
Because
That's all good and well. I can send that to you if you want me to.
Man.
That's fine. I can send that to you if you want me to.
Keep cutting me off.
All right. So, but I'm okay.
Let
I'm
me
not gonna cut
finish.
you off, but don't go off personal experience again. Don't do that because your personal experience is not everybody else's, right? So you just can't go off personal experience. You have to address what the research says. If you don't know what the research says, that's
I
fine.
want to see what research you're talking about.
Okay,
because
fine.
Every person
Fine.
that I
So
work
what?
with,
Okay, so Derek, this is my question. Derek, this is my question. This is my question. Derek, hold on, Derek. This is my question.
has been treated equally.
Derek, hold on, Derek. This is my question now. What research, what data do you have that says the opposite of what I'm saying? Not your personal experience, research.
40 plus years of
That's
being
not
in
research,
prison.
my friend. That's not research. That's anecdotes. Anecdotes are not data.
It's solid research.
No, it's
How
not.
is it not?
No, it's not. Because
How is it not?
because I can say the opposite of what you said, right? I've been on this earth for almost 40 years as well. I can say that I've seen racism in the industry every single
I've been on
time.
the earth for
Hold on, Derek, hold on. Derek, I'm explaining to you, Derek, I'm explaining to you why anecdotes are not helpful
you're
here.
just gonna cut me off.
The reason why I cut you off is because you asked me and then you started talking. That's why I cut you off. So you said 40 years of lived experience. I also have 20 to 30 years of lived experience. That is the exact opposite of what you're saying. Which one of us is right? All right, I'm going to say this again. So Derek, you said that with almost 40 years of lived experience, you do not see racism within employment. I said within my 30 years of experience, I have seen racism in the employment industry or within the employment institutions. Which one of us will be right? Still there, Derek?
I'm still here. It's hard. Again, you've got two different streams going on in my ears, so it's difficult.
That's because you got to turn off one of them. Just listen to the phone. You got to turn off one of them and listen to the phone. All right, so I'm going to say what I said again. Okay. You said for almost 40 years of living, you have never experienced racism within employment. That's all good and well. I'm saying within my 30 years.
About racism.
Okay, you're cutting me off again. All right, you're saying that you haven't seen what what the data shows, right? You personally haven't seen that. I'm fine with that. I'm okay with that. What I'm saying is that in my experience within employment, I have seen that. So if we both have different experiences, which one of us would be right at that point? Because I've seen what the data says, but you haven't. So which one of us is right?
I want to see this study you're referencing, number one. Number two, again, all I can go off with what I've seen in my life. And I'm a Latino, so if somebody should be discriminated against, it should be me, right?
Right, Derek, again, bro, I don't have a problem with what you're saying. I understand that you never seen that in your life. That's all good and well. But what I'm saying is that if I have an opposite experience to you, how can you say that my experience is wrong and you're the right one? How do you do that?
Say mine is wrong and you're the right one.
Because Derek, again, I'm going to ask you again. You just can't answer a question with a question. If we both have opposite experiences, how do we show which one is right? What do we need to show which one of us is right?
That's a great question. You tell me.
We need research. We need data. And when we look into research, when we look into data, guess what it shows? It shows that I'm right.
You're referencing this research and data, but you haven't pointed me to a single study that backs up what you're saying.
I'm going to tell you to look it up. You know why I'm going to tell you to look it up? Because number one, we're on the phone. And number two, it's crazy how you're going to say that this doesn't happen and you never looked it up.
I didn't. No, you're putting words in my mouth. I'm sure that in some areas, in some instances, it absolutely happens.
Okay, great.
I'm sure that when
Okay, great, Derek. Okay, great. So you agree with me that this happens?
Like this happens. No. You're talking and you're acting like this happens to everybody, everywhere.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said. Now you're putting words in my mouth. That's not what I said. That's not what I said. I said within institutions. No, I said within institutions. I said within institutions, this is what we see. We see on average, black applicants who are qualified, who have the experience, get less callbacks than the white applicants who are also qualified, and even sometimes those who are less qualified. That's what I said. I didn't say this happens in every single time. I didn't say that. And you just said
so now
you're sure that it does.
On occasion, then, that this happens, right?
It has a measurable effect. That's what I'm saying. It's not just on occasion. That's a measurable effect. We can actually see it happening. That's a measurable effect. All right. Since you want me to go ahead and give you the data, I think there's one from Harvard. Give me 1 second. Which one? I think this one was done by Harvard back in 2020, if I'm not mistaken. Let me go ahead and get my sources. Give me one moment to look up the references. All right.
Sure.
All right, because it's in my drive. It's in my Google Drive. And while I'm looking that up, Derek, I have a question for you. Have you ever actually looked this up, employment discrimination?
Absolutely. Because
and what did you find?
I'm a part owner of 3 different companies.
All right, hold on. Wait, hold on. Derek, hold on. Derek, hold on. Because you're going off your personal experience again. That's not what I asked you. I asked you, have you looked up research into employment discrimination? Have you looked it up?
Yes.
Okay. What did you find?
That, but you keep cutting me off, dude.
No. You said you're part of a company and we tried to not be racist. That's fine, bro. But that's not what I'm asking you.
That's not
when
what
you
I
said
at all.
Okay.
I did not say that. Those words did not come out of my mouth.
All right. So hold on. All right. So you looked up research into employment discrimination.
Absolutely.
What did you find?
We found. Are you telling me to hold on again? Yeah, this guy's not letting me talk.
I'm being quiet. You can go ahead. Still there, Derek? All right, Derek dropped out. I don't know why. I told him he could go ahead and talk. I don't know why he didn't do it. I'm sorry. I'm just looking up my source document so I can give it to everybody else who would also wanted and needed. Okay, wifey's looking at me. Give me 1 second, y'all. I know I had that source document here somewhere. I know I had it here somewhere. Let me search. I had it here somewhere. All right, here we go. All right, cool. Yeah, so this was a meta-analysis. All right, yeah, hiring discrimination against black applicants hasn't changed since 1989. This was done by the Russell Sage Foundation, dating October 19, 2017. That's when that one came out. There's another one called, this was done by UC Berkeley, and it says Berkeley economists among a group of researchers found that bias against black job applicants. They sent out 80,000 fake resumes in that one. And it was basically a study that showed that, basically what it showed is that white sounding names and black sounding names got different, different Damn it, what's that? My brain is shutting off. I'm sorry, y'all. Reactions. There we go. They got different reactions when it was a black sounding name versus a white sounding name. That was done by UC Berkeley. What else? I think this one is a Harvard one. Now this one is from Chicago Booth Review. It also showed racist and bias in black sounding names versus white sounding names. That one found it. Another one was done by the Center of Budget Policy and Priorities. Essentially, that found the exact same thing. Black applicants versus white applicants. All right, y'all. So there are 2 more callers on the line, but I'm not gonna get to y'all. Tell you the truth, I gotta go out. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. All right, I'm not sure what's going on over on the YouTube. If you guys called in or what, I don't know if you guys called in or anything like that, but I'm gonna have to go ahead and get out of here soon. Probably gonna take one more caller. 205. How's it going? 205.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Name and age?
This one, Tez. Tez, 89, 1989.
Mm-hmm.
36.
What did you disagree with?
Wrote up well, I disagree with religion, but I ain't gonna debate on that or talk about that. I just kind of came to back you up on what you're saying about reparations.
Okay,
with the
not a
religion
problem.
thing, that's a whole different show, man. So
Gotcha.
like
Go.
I said, folks, I don't try to argue with people about their religion. It's an experience. That's all I can tell you. When you have an experience with Jesus, with Christ, with Yeshua, then you're
Cool, not a problem. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end the show now. Yeah, wonderful shows. So the line is called the line is closed now. Y'all go ahead and call in tomorrow. I've been on for about 2 hours and 15 minutes. I gotta go out with wifey, y'all. But I do appreciate everybody who is here and want to talk. I'm sorry, I gotta cut people off, but that's it for tonight. All right. Hey, y'all. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Shout out to everybody who's watching me over on the Deconstruction Junction. Shout out to you if you're watching me on my channel, Volsy Thoughts. We're gonna go ahead and get out of here, y'all. And we're gonna go ahead and enjoy our night because I want to eat something and I want to smoke some hookah and I want to get drunk. So we're gonna go out, and I appreciate y'all. One last thing. I always end off the lives like this. Every man should be soft. And what that means is be secure, be affectionate, be wise, be flexible, and be thoughtful. Be soft. Every man should be soft. I appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Y'all have a good night. Peace.
Like I believe in supernatural.